Da 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 da.
All right, so let's start with what does the Minuteman machine actually cost? So eventually, and I've said this before in a number of videos, I'm trying to make this all like as open source as possible. You can do that on a wooden board as I've shown in a previous video. So, but let's cover the costs of the raw components you put into and what it takes to build such a design of a printer. So starting off, this is the CMM. I did pay around $1,000 for it a few years ago. I was doing the first CMM actually as my bachelor's thesis, and I bought this as a backup machine. So basically, if I ever crashed the air bearings, which did happen, but I fixed it with relapping, I wanted to have as much spare parts as possible. This machine just sat there for a few years now, and yeah, I'm kind of obsessed with all those granite air bearing stuff, so I decided to give this printer a go. Including shipping, it was around €1,000. So if you search for a really high quality granite plate, actually just have a look on eBay, Craigslist, whatever, to search for an outdated or broken CMM. In my case, both of these CMMs, the controllers went bad, and yeah, I got them for dirt cheap, like €300 to €400 before shipping. And you can basically strip them down and have a lot of really high quality components out of these. This is the part about the electronics stuff I put in here. These are TMC drivers I have on here. This is power supplies. This is the Raspberry Pi. I added some fans. I added the accelerometer and the initial main board with the TMC drivers. This is these costs. Everything regarding the extrusion system. There were heaters. Basic build materials like the copper used for the milled out hot end. Again, some fans, the Bondtech LGX extruders where you need like 4 of. Then slice engineering, the heat break and cold end, which is all like all of these parts are absolutely state of the art. As well as the electronics in terms of speed, etc. I bought some special end mills just to perform these actions, and I bought the original Bondtech CHT nozzle. Regarding the motion system, I did the initial parts from PCBWay. This is covering like the aluminum brackets for holding the motors, as well as the polyjetted pulleys. Then we have the Nanotech stepper drivers, the LDO steppers, the OMC steppers I used for the testings, the Dyneema rope, some idlers, diamond drills to attach stuff to the CMM, etc. Then there's stuff like filament. As said in the previous episode, I used around like 4 kilograms of these extruder material, which is a PLA carbon fiber blend, which I use for basically all of my engineering stuff. This comes down to around $200, and for the last episode I actually bought a camera, which set me back $550, and then lastly you will see that in a future episode about a power supply to enhance the electronics. So this is basically, there's a lot of small nitty-gritty stuff missing, but this is like big picture, and this comes down to, let's say, $5,000 we need to build the machine. You can take out a few of these steppers because essentially you just need one of those, but let's make it around $5,000. Yeah, and now this is what I got sent over free of charge by those companies. I mentioned that in the videos itself each and every time. These were the Bondtech as well as Slice Engineering parts. They got over sent for free. PCBWay actually did support this channel in the last 2 episodes, which is like a really big win-win situation for everyone, I guess. And if there's anything I hate, it's obvious advertisement. I do think that this is like going together pretty naturally here, and yeah, everyone has got their benefits of it. And then also Nanotech did provide the steppers that are on the machine right now. So what I did actually pay for that is around 3,000 euros. This is what I actually paid for the machine. And now, and I will do this fully transparent, I'll have you a look in my YouTube analytics for all of this project. And as you can see here, this is from May of 2024 to now. And this is basically what all the Minuteman videos have been doing on my channel. So as you can see, this is including all the other videos, but I think those aren't really a big factor in that. Let's say it has been around 8 to 850,000 views on all these videos, which led to a pretty big number in playtime, which is a really cool thing for me to see, that actually people do appreciate the content I'm making and do apparently find something out of interest on here. During that time, we gained around 12,500 of subs, and this has been around, let's call it 3,000 euros worth of ad revenue. This is basically just the money I do on these ad revenue I can put in the machine and not having to spend it all on my own. And when I factor this in, this is basically I'm coming down to a net zero. So I actually do have paid stuff for the machine. It's all in those little things you buy at Home Depot, etc. But yeah, basically I can say I'm pretty much even out. Let's have another look in the analytics. If you're interested in the region of you guys, it's mostly around 30% United States, followed by 50% of German viewers. And the next are 5% from the UK, 3% from Canada, 3% to Netherlands, etc. And yeah, this is pretty interesting for me too. So I've got people watching from all over the world. What I'm doing here in my company in Eitorf, Germany. That's pretty weird, but also fascinating, and I'm very thankful for all you guys accompanying me. In terms of age, most of you people are from 25 to 44 years, and as you may or may have not expected, this is it's like 89% male viewers, but of course I really do appreciate all the other genders here, so thank you. So the point I'm trying to make here is that it is a great thing for me to have those YouTube ad revenues coming in. And yeah, I've been doing all of this in my free time, and I enjoy that a lot. That 3D printing has been a hobby for me for the last couple of years or maybe decade. I really enjoy working and experimenting in this field, and all the printers I've built during the last decade, a common feature that it is just thought outside of the box. None of these machines I've built were something you could buy on shelf. Keep in mind, this whole tool head does weigh around 8.5 kilograms, despite it being made of carbon fiber and stuff. And it has always been like the development of really unique niche solutions that has triggered me in these processes. What I would wish for myself for the future is to have these developments somewhat integrated in my company life. As you saw, I'm down there with a net zero on this machine. I can justify that because it's a hobby, but if I want to take that a step further, we need to change that somehow. That's why I set up a Patreon account. I want to have your honest opinion in the comments about that. If it's of interest for you, essentially paying someone to do the research work, if you're interested in that, how I should do membership structure, etc. What essentially just give me your honest feedback on that. That's the first time I'm doing all of this stuff, and trust me, I'm a guy who is really confident in what he does engineering wise, but I'm really out of my comfort zone here, asking people for money for the stuff I do here. And I want to use the opportunity to say it again. I have no intent of putting any of my findings behind patents or something. I really hate most of the patents that are being filed right now, and especially with something like additive manufacturing. I think it's such a great solution for all the little hobbyists that trying to get their ideas out in the world, and it is essentially a tool to have prototyping available for all individuals and not only being reserved by huge companies which have CNC machines, etc. I think 3D printing should be available for all of you. And if I can be the guy that does find a new solution or does things make a lot better, etc., I'm willing to have that openly available for all hobbyists and not like for a company that files a patent and then hides it for 20 years. I have no interest in doing that. And basically this is what you're investing to, so that all your consumer grade machines can have better quality printing in faster times with whatever we gotta find on the way. So this is my main goal with that. So in terms of what can you expect from a Patreon membership, essentially it's not too much. I mean, what you do is to help this project succeed on the long run, and we can have like future iterations of all the details we planned on here. But in terms of what you get extra, it's basically very little, because I do not plan to hide anything behind paywall. Usually I do have a Discord server, does feature a lot of very active people on here, and all the videos when they like air on Saturday or something, I try to upload them on Thursdays or something. I just post it on the Discord and people can have a closer look 2 or 3 days before. Basically, you as a patron would have like the same opportunity. But essentially, if you don't want to spend any money, you can just join the Discord and get all those information as well, basically at the same time. This hasn't been the greatest sales pitch of the year, but this is basically how I want to run this. Just trying to get a funding on this project and continue what I love to do on a daily basis. And if this works as a community, this would be a pleasure to have you guys on board. So another thing that is helping me tremendously on these projects is the collaboration with PCBWay in that regard. So, and again, this is today's video sponsor. I'm all about natural integration of those kind of things. Therefore, I can justify it myself to not having full-blown ads about whatever, socks, shoes, or whatever. You won't find that here. I'm not buyable for those kind of things, but I think in the terms of PCBWay, this is a perfect win-win situation. And let me show you really quickly about the latest thing I did with our offerings. In terms of cost and earnings, I try to be as transparent as possible, but I signed a contract not to share the numbers we negotiated in there. But essentially, what I do have is like a budget on the website to get CNC machining, to get SLM, SLS printed parts, sheet metal, as you saw in the last episode, etc., which I receive free of charge, and then I get a small commission on top of that for mentioning their services. Just think about it. If someone would have told you 20 years ago that you can hop into your CAD program, do a bunch of CAD drawings, etc. This is, by the way, for one of the future videos, I'm trying to get the hot end situation for Core XY printers suitable, to have those flow values with a very low weight combined. So we'll see about that. But you essentially just export that as a step file. Go to the PCB website, select 3D printing, and yeah, after uploading, you're just gonna go with like, I wanna have one piece of these, I wanna have it printed in solid aluminum, I can choose various kinds of surface options. Do I need tabs? Do I need inserts? Whatever. And boom, you get your instant quote. And like, if you submit this, then an engineer will have a look at what at the actual part and give you maybe feedback and on wall thicknesses, etc. Yeah, I do think this makes up for a win-win situation. We can go on with our findings and developments and testing, and I don't have to spend that money all on by my own. And I'm really happy with the parts that have been on here, with the support I get from the engineers, from my contact over there at PCBWay. So huge shout out again to those guys. And yeah, for the next big point in this video, let's talk about future plans with the machine. So the next month will be packed with episodes concerning everything to make the sub 1 minute benchy possible eventually. I've got a lot of things already catted out and sent to manufacturing, as well as prototyped a lot of parts myself to do the testing. So there will be a video collaboration with Monica McWolf. She's been helping me big time with this project and we plan to make a video together. She will be showcasing a few of her high-speed builds as well as we're gonna do a deep dive into the art of speed benchy slicing or slicing in general. Basically giving everyone a guide on how to do really fast slicing. Then of course there will be the next full-blown episode on the Minuteman machine where we cover the whole subject of cooling. And we're gonna push everything to the absolute extreme. You already saw my water vapor infusion machine, whatever you want to call it, in the last episode as a teaser. But then again, you posted so many really good ideas in the comment section of the last video, and I do read all of them. And we're going to test a lot of those things as well with different gases, fluids and approaches to the problem.
Entschuldigung. Okay.
I'm really curious how that works out in terms of layer adhesion, material brittleness and all the other things we run into. Because quite frankly, there are little to none information on the internet available regarding these topics.
Schön mit der Hand, dafür wird im Internet gut geroastet.
And yeah, just to be clear, nobody ever had these questions before because they weren't of any interest. But now we reached a point where these things do matter and we're gonna test that. For another video, I'm planning to conduct tests with ranging nozzle sizes, ranging from 0.2 to 4 millimeters. And see how all of that affects the speed printing approach and then again how cooling is a factor of it. So last but not least, we want to proceed in the quest for the 1 minute benchy. I do have another iteration in me using open loop stepper motors and I think we would eventually come close to the goal. But definitely it will be a stretch and lots of other parts of the system will reach their limits for sure. So maybe, just maybe, we get rid of the speed benchy rules in that process. If the rules become the brick wall instead of physics, we might ditch the challenge and just gonna do it enough. And yeah, that's why I would like to invite industry to hit me up with solutions. If we ditch speedboat rules, I want to go full feedback mode and equip this machine with real state-of-the-art motion components. I'm open for servo, linear motors, BLDC setups, you name it. So we're talking about a moving mass somewhere in the range from 30 to 100 grams and we need somehow to be interfaceable with 3D printer main boards. So these are the criteria and you can find my email in the video description on my website. So if you're a company that manufactures motion system components and think your equipment is up to the task of accelerating some kind of a kinematic up to 250 Gs, hit me up and we can display it here. So that's it for this video, I guess. This was a lot of brass talk and I hope you found some interest in what I had to tell you. Please leave anything you want down in the comment section. I'm happy to read through all of them. I'm very eager to have feedback on what I'm doing here. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode, which will be full blown. I'm Jan. Bye.